बुरे श्रमापति महादेव की जय। श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। प्रिय भक्तजन, शुभ स्वागतम and welcome to this evening's Sandhya. As you join with members of this most wonderful family in Satsang, in devotion in this time on the passing of the wonderful father of this home, we take the opportunity to offer salutation, to offer prayer as we journey through our holy scriptures this evening. As we are about to commence a beautiful pravachan and katha taken from the golden pages of the Sri Ramacharitra, before doing so, let us all sit upright. Let us join our palms together. Let us close the physical eyes as we pray. As we surrender to the feet of Bhagavan, He Prabhu, He Sarva Sachitanand, Nirakar Sarveshwara, Koti ko bharambar नमस्कार करता हो। ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम। हे राम हे राम हे राम, हमें दया करो। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमो नमः। ओम श्री गुरु चरण कमलेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Salutations to Lord Ganesh. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Gajananam Bhutaganari Sevitam Kapita Jambu Padasara Vakshitam Umasutam Shuka Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwar Par Pankajam. Salutations to the Holy Ramayana. Varananam Arata Sanganam Rasanam Chandasamapi Mangalanam Chakartaro Vande Vani Vinayakam. Jesu Mirata Siddhi hoy Gananayak kari varavarana ahanu ano grahasoy puri rasi shubha guna sarana moka hoy vacha Charayagiri Varagrahana Jasu Hirdaya Akar Prabhu Sakala Kali Maladayana Nila Saro Rahusham Taduna Aruna Ma Rejanayana Kumnaim Do Samade Om Maramana Karunayana Chahe Dina Parani Kahgaho Kripa Ma Danamayana पूंज जासु बचन रवि करनि करा पवन पवन कुमार कलबान पावक ज्ञान ज्ञान जासु हृदय आगर बसहि राम साक्षापद श्री गुरु चरण सरोवर निज मन मुकुंद सुधार बरनो रघु बर विमलायशा जोदायक फलचार बोनाहीन जनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल्लभुनि वेद्या देवो मोहि हरहु करे शविकार सियापति रामचंद्र की जय उमापति महादेव की जय वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र की जय ओदेसा जगन्नाथ की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय सियापति रामचंद्र की जय शरणम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम बुरे सियापति राम की once more again swagatam and welcome to this evening's Sandhya. This evening our katha is taken from the golden pages of the Sri Ramacharitra. As I take the opportunity to welcome all those joining with us here in devotion, I also would like to welcome all those viewing us via Media Concepts 29 and of course my Facebook page this evening as well. Bhagwan's blessings to each and everyone. Our katha is taken from Aranyakan of the Sri Ramacharitra. Sri Ram, Devi Sita and Bhaiya Lakshman, they are residing within the Kishkinda forest. And whilst they are in Banbas of 14 years, Ravan, whom had tried to win the hands of Sita in marriage, but was unsuccessful in breaking the bow of Lord Shiva, whom is the king of Lanka, he sees an opportunity where he could kidnap Sita Devi. Remember, Ravan is a Rakshas, and everything negative is flowing through his mind. But Ravan, my dear friends, he's looking at what is taking place in the forest, and he remembers that one of his uncle's name is Marich, and Marich was given a boon that by the mere thought he could assume any form that he wished to assume. He could take any form that he wishes to take. And so Marich was summoned by Ravan, and as Marich was asked to come into the kingdom of Lanka, Ravan is about to ask Marich for a favor. What is this favor? Goswami Tulsidas Ji describes to us this evening. Jaya Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. महाराम बचना जब सीता भोला, हरि प्रेकतल चमन मन डोला। जय राम श्री राम, जय जय राम, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. वासुदेवा सरारूप सब कहु चले जाहि रावण साई राहु जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम बोलो श्री राम जय जय राम बोलो श्री राम जय जय राम बुढ़े सियापति रामचंद्र की जय. Ravan, my dear friends and devotees, he calls marriage, and as he calls marriage, he tells to him, my dear uncle, I know that anything I ask you to do, you will never hesitate to do it. Anything that I want you to do, I know that you will do it. Because I am your best nephew. If your nephew comes to you and tell you something like that, and anything he asks for you, do it. So Ravan says, O marriage, I want you to go into the Kishkinda forest. And there you will see a kutia where the prince of Ayodhya is residing with his Dulahin, Sita and Lakshman. I want you to go there and I want you to assume and take that beautiful form of a golden deer, and I want you to roam around the kutia. And once you roam around the kutia, I want Sita Devi to see this golden deer and she will fall in love with it. And she's going to send Ram to capture this deer. And when she sends Ram, I want you to take him into the forest and lost him. And marriage, my dear devotees, he agreed to do such. He agreed to do such. Why? Because Ravan was his leader. Sometimes when our leaders ask us to do things, we must think before we act still. Because when the leader makes a bad decision, who does suffer? Oh, you should know that in Trinidad, man. Everybody has to suffer, isn't that so? Marriage agrees. He goes into the Kishkinda forest. But once he goes into the forest, he sees the kutia. He takes the form of the golden deer and he roams around the kutia. And as Sita Devi sees this deer, she calls Shri Ram. She says, O Ram, there's a golden deer roaming in the nearby forest. And I want you to capture this deer so I will have it to keep me company whilst I am here in this kutia. And Ram, he didn't mind going to capture the deer, to bring it for her to mind and keep as a pet. Why? He's thinking to himself, if Sita could leave all of the luxury in Ayodhya, all of the beautiful things in Ayodhya to accompany me into this forest and to live in a little kutia, then that is not anything impossible for me to do. Likewise, when our Dulahin goes out of the way every single day, sometimes we don't recognize that. To prepare bhojan, to prepare your clothes, to take care of the kids, to take care of the house, it is a great sacrifice. And likewise, we too, my dear devotees and bhaktas, must take time to acknowledge that just like Shri Ram, the sacrifices that our spouse would make in life. He calls Lakshman and he says, Bhaiya, I want you to remain in this kutia and I want you to protect Sita in my absence. And Lakshman with clasped hands, he says, Prabhu, you have my word. I will remain here and ensure that Sita is safe. Shri Ram is about to leave and he goes into the forest and he is tracking this deer. But remember, as promised, Marich is going to go deeper into the forest to lose Shri Ram. And once he goes into the forest and he's going deeper into the forest, time is passing by. And whilst time is passing by, it's getting a little bit dark. Just like any ordinary wife, when you see it's getting dark and your husband don't return home, what has happened? You begin to worry. Isn't that so? She started to worry. So she said, Lakshman, go into the forest and call Ram. And tell Ram, if you don't see the deer, that's okay. Return to me, it's getting dark and he must return to me now. I want to ensure that he's safe. Because if I know my Ram, he will not return until he captures the deer. And so, Lakshman also remembers the words of Ram to protect Sita. Lakshman takes the arrow. He goes outside the kutia. He places the arrow on the ground. Prithvi Divyai Namaha. And he begins to create a rekha. What he is doing, Goswami Tulsidashi tells to us this evening through the medium of the golden pages of the Shri Ram Charitramanas. Hari ho Rama milan kab hoye, ang savala ge rahe. Hari ho Rama milan kab hoye, ang savala ge rahe. Hari ho Rama milan kab hoye, ang savala ge rahe. तब रावण निज रूप देखा, तब रावण निज रूप देखा। बाहि में सब जब नामो, बाहि में सब जब नामो, अंग सवाला गिरे। हरि हो राम मिलन कब होए, अंग सवाला गिरे। हरि हो राम मिलन कब होए, अंग सवाला गिरे। Lakshman takes the arrow, and as he places the arrow, Prithvi Devyai Namaha, O mother, today as I mark this kutia, I want you, Devi, to protect Sita Maya. And so he begins to pray. And while he's praying, he goes around the kutia, and he creates that beautiful rekha. He says, Maya, once you are within this rekha, once you are within this circle, O mother, you will always be protected. But anytime you come out of this circle, you will be unprotected. So Devi, once I go in search of Ram, I want you to remain within the circle, so you will be well protected from any evil and any negative forces. Oma, Hamid Dayakuru, with your blessing now, O Sita Devi, I go in search of Ram. He bows to the feet of the Divine Mother, and he goes in search of Shri Ram. Goswami Tulsidashi tells to us, कहा सीता धरीधर राजू, कहा सीता धरीधर राजू, गिहु प्रभु कल राहु, गिहु प्रभु कल राहु, अंग सवाला गिरे। हरि हो राम मिलन कब होए, अंग सवाला गिरे। हरि हो राम मिलन कब होए, अंग सवाला गिरे। पुरे सियापति रामचंद्र की। As he creates that rekha, he says, Mother, once you are within this circle, you are well protected. But once you come out of this circle, you are no longer protected. With your blessing, O Sita Devi, I go in search of Ram. What Lakshman is teaching us here? A very valuable lesson for life. That when we are about to leave our homes, what you must do? You make sure and quarrel and leave the house. You tell the dulahin before I reach home, make sure it has hot sada roti and fried tomatoes. Otherwise there's trouble in the house. Jai Bhagwan. My dear friends, before leaving our homes, we must do like Lakshman. Seek the blessing of Bhagwan. He goes in search of Ram in the name of Ram. When we are leaving our homes in the morning to go to work or wherever we go, we must go to our altars. Bhagwan, by your blessing, today I leave this home. By your blessing, oh Bhagwan, protect my home, protect my family, and allow me to return to my home safely. In today's world, how many people leave home and do not return? How many people leave their home and when they return, the house burned down? We must put God first, my dear friends, in everything that we do. Remember that we live in the age of Kali Yuga, the dark age. I remember one morning coming from studio very early. I saw a man lying on the road there on the ground in his coverall. One police vehicle there apparently didn't know what happened. Struck by a car, lying there on the ground, no longer alive. And so many thoughts ran through my mind. That this person left home, left their family. The family is thinking that he's maybe in work by now. And that time he's at the side of the road lying there, dead. This is what life is. We are not sure when we leave our homes what is going to take place. Be like Lakshman. Seek the blessings of Bhagwan first before leaving your house. And so, he says, Maya, remain within this circle. And she goes. And as he goes in search of Shri Ram, Ravan is looking at everything. Ravan is saying that everything is going according to my plan. Sita is alone, and now I shall make my move. So Ravan is in the nearby forest, in the Pushpa Vikan, and he comes very closely. But he says, if I go in the form of Ravan, she will recognize me, she wouldn't come. But if I take the form of an old beggar, she would come to me. He takes the form of an old beggar and he goes walking in the forest. Diksham Dehi, Diksham Dehi. He's calling, he's begging. Sita Devi hears someone begging, and as she looks out of the door, she sees this old man walking, coming. Diksham Dehi, and he sees her. Diksham Dehi Maya, Bhog Lagawe, Mother, I'm hungry, do you have food? She remembers the words of Lakshman. But she also remembers, Shri Ram always teaches us, Atiti Devo Bhava. Your guest is your God. When someone comes to your home, how you must treat them? As though Bhagwan has come in your home. When someone comes to your home, you must welcome them. You know, like this evening, I was very frightened when I was coming because I know I late, you know. But when I come, I see a couple of them by the road. I say, Jai Bhagwan, well, that is the day. But I got a warm welcome, as though I was home. Atiti Devo Baba. She says, I cannot allow this beggar, this hungry man to go. She takes pearl fruits. This is what she have. And she goes nearby. And she says, Pranam Pita. All I have is fruits. Please partake of this. But she doesn't come out of the circle. But as Ravan looks on the ground, he realizes this spot is blessed. I cannot enter. He says, Maya, I'm so weak. I feel as though I cannot make one footstep closer to you. Could you please come out and give me the fruits? You know, there's a beautiful saying, never judge a book by it. Oh, you never hear that one in Woodland? Never judge a book by its cover. Sita Devi, she thinks to herself, she remembers the words of Lakshman. But what harm could this man bring? He's so old, he could hardly walk. He cannot bring me no harm. And as she placed one foot out of the circle, Ravan smiled. As she places the other, he begins to laugh. He captures her and he takes her to the aerial craft. Beginning to journey to Lankapuri, Sita is crying. And while she cries, Katha tells to us this evening, Jai Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Jai Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. bilapa suno bari bai kara kara jiva dukhari Jai Ram Shri Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Bolo Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Prabhu Shri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. She chants the name of Ram. And while she chants the name of Ram, she is going in the aircraft. Sita ke bilab suno bari bai kara kara jiva dukhari. She is crying. She is calling Ram. And while she is crying, it is said, all of the Krityas in the forest, moving and unmoving, they were in distress. Why? They knew it was Sita Devi's voice. They knew that the Devi was in problems. But what can I do? As they are flying over the Kishkinda, Jatayu, the king of the birds, heard the cry. He heard when Sita Devi cried and she called Ram. He recognized the voice to be Sita. He looks. He recognizes the chariot to be that of Ravan. But he thinks to himself, what can I do? I am a mere bird. What can I do? But Jatayu remembered, it is better to try and fail than to fail to try. It is better to try and fail than to fail to try. So Jatayu gained courage and he begins Jai Shri Ram and he's traveling to the chariot. Upon reaching there, he says, O Raja, O King of Lanka, please release Sita Devi. Because Ram will come in search of Sita Devi and he will bring your destruction. And not only your destruction, but the destruction of the entire of Lanka. Please, think before you act. And Ravan begins to laugh. He says, I am the king of Lanka. Ram is the prince of Ayodhya and living in the forest. You feel he could conquer me? What is that speaking? Abhiman, ego, pride. He says, if you want me to free Sita Devi, then battle with me. And Jatayu, as he goes to pick the Ravan, Ravan pulls his sword. Clipping the wings of Jatayu, he slits his throat. And Jatayu is falling to the ground. And once he falls to the ground, my dear friends, Jatayu is thinking about Ram. Imagine you just get your throat slit. You're going to die. Your breath is flickering. What would you be thinking about everything else other than Raman? He's thinking about Ram. How will my Ram know where Sita Devi is? If you went to help Ram and you get your throat slit, you will say, see Ram, that he business now. I get my throat slit for he. But he doesn't think like this. He says, how will Ram know where Sita Devi is? And Jatayu, while he's falling to the ground, he begins to think about Shri Ram. And while he thinks about Shri Ram, he remembers the beautiful time he had spent with Shri Ram. He's thinking about the time he spent with Shri Ram. Why? Because he knew his time is near. He knows that he is going to breathe his last breath. And while he's falling from the sky, he remembers how Shri Ram treated him like a father. He remembered how Ramchandra would treat him like a father when everybody else would treat him otherwise. And so he's thinking, how will my God? Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. We call God what? Your mother and your father. How will he know where Sita is? He begins to remember the days when Ram would help him to fly. When Ram will teach him life, teach him about the journey of life. Likewise this evening, we remember the father of this home. when he would have taught his children how to ride a bicycle, when he would have taught you how to walk, when he would have taught you about life and this journey of life, and when he would have made great sacrifices for all of the children of this home to ensure that you are well taken care of. Today, as he remembers Shriram as a father, we take the opportunity to remember the father of this home. Tonight, wherever you are sitting, if your father is alive, say a prayer for him. Tonight, as the father of the home is no longer, my dear devotees and bhaktas, take this opportunity to offer a prayer for that soul. Take this opportunity to pray for the soul of the father of this home. तुझे सूरज कहो या चंदा, तुझे दीपक हो या तारा, मेरा नाम करेगा रोशन, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा. The father may not tell you every day of his life, but there were days when he would consider all of his children to be the sun, the moon, the lamp, the light in his life. He saw you to be so great. He maybe didn't express it every day of his life, but you are his pride and his joy. He would have done anything and everything to ensure that you are happy, to ensure that you are well taken care of, to provide for you. And today, it's your duty now to repay that debt. And how do we repay that debt? Through the medium of performing your duty towards your father's soul, by performing your worship, by praying for that soul now, by performing your puja, your shrad, your dasgat, and praying, my dear devotees, for the welfare of that beautiful soul. Today, we honor the father of this home. Aj ugle tamke tere, तुझे मैं चरना से राखूं, कल हाथ पकड़ना मेरा, जब मैं बड़ा हूँ जानू, तू मिलन तू मैंने पाया, जाने का नया सहारा, मेरा नाम करेगा रोशन, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा. तुझे सूरज कहूँ या चंदा, तुझे दीपक कहूँ या तारा, मेरा नाम करेगा रोशन, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा. Jatayu falling to the ground, his thoughts is centered upon Shriram. He remembers him to be a father. He remembers him to be his hero. He remembers him now to be what? His Lord and Master. He chants to his Lord. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. This evening, to help the soul of the father of this home, this is why we have Satsang. When we join in Satsang this evening, yes, it's to learn about life and death that we are going to face now. But it's also an opportunity to pray for that soul. For that soul is lingering here now until the final prayer is done on the day of the Shraddha. That soul is depending to listen to the name of the Lord. And once that soul is here, how do we help the soul? By joining in Satsang and chanting the name of the Lord. Ram Ram Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Ram Ram, Patita Pavana You know, I don't know if you don't know this, but I don't really tell people this too much, but I don't hear too good, eh? So you have to sing a little bit louder. Then I would know what you're singing, right? Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Everybody, Ram, Ram, Patita Pavana, Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. Jatayu falls to the ground, and as he falls to the ground, blood is oozing out of his body, and as the blood oozes out of his body, his thoughts are centered, when will I meet my Ram? When will my Ram come? How will my Ram know where Sita is? And so, his breath is flickering in his throat. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavan, Sita Ram. Oh Ram, where are you? He's craving to see his Lord and Master. And why is he craving to see the Divine Lord? This evening, we too must have a craving to meet with God. And when should we have that craving to meet with God? Every day of our lives. Every day of our lives, we must make time for God. We must make time to go in the mandir and to perform our puja, to light our diya, to offer our dhar, to serve God, my dear friends. Make time for God, because the pandemic would have taught us that there was no doctor, nothing could have helped us. Whom is the only one could have helped us? Bhagwan. We had to leave the job. We had to leave everything and stay at home. Everything that we made time for, we had to leave it and stay at home and pray to stay alive. We put God last and we placed everything before God. And now we had to put everything behind and only think about God. Now more than ever we should learn. Make time for God. Put God in front. By whatever name you may call God. By whatever form you may visualize God to be. Serve God, my dear friends. Sanatana Dharma teaches us what? We may call God by many different names and we may visualize that Lord by many different forms. Serve God. Serve God, my dear friends. The bhajan says, Ishwara Allah tere naam sabko sanmati re Bhagavan. Ishwara Allah tere naam sabko sanmati re Bhagavan. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Ram, Ram, Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Jai Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sita. When will my Ram come? I'm waiting here, my breath is flickering, but where is my Ram? And why is the blood oozes out of the body and it drains out into the truck? Ram and Lakshman is coming. And Lakshman sees the blood. And once he sees the trail of blood, he follows the trail of blood. And there he sees Jatayu lying in a pool of blood with his breath flickering. He calls Ram, "Are bhaiya!" Ram quickly runs there. Upon seeing Jatayu on the ground, he placed his head on his lap. And said, "Jatayu, tell me, what has happened to you? Who did this to you?" And Jatayu says, "Prabhu, it is Ravan. Ravan who took your Sita to Lanka. And Ravan, oh Lord, I tried to tell him to leave Sita, leave her, release her. Otherwise it will bring his destruction. But he refused. He tell me battle with him, Lord, and I did. And this is where I am today." O Ram, allow me to breathe my last breath. And you go, my Lord, and rescue your Sita. You go, my Lord, and you rescue your Sita Devi. Ram, he looks at Jatayu. And he says, "Oh Jatayu, don't worry. I will put back life into your body. I will heal this wound, O Ram, O Jatayu. You are in service to me. And I will help you." And you know what Jatayu said? If you are about to die and God come and say, "Here, what I given you, I give." We will say, "Bhagwan a kya get tu?" You know what Jatayu said? "Prabhu, what more will this body serve when I've already served you?" He said in the form of Krishna Bhagwan upon the Kurukshetra, remember your words? What were the words of Krishna? He reminds us this evening as we journey to the Bhagavad Gita in a couple verses. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Bolo Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Bolo Sri Krishna Sharanam. Kalicha mamaiva sumirana mukta kalvaviram ya prayate sakmadabhavam ya natra samyam yaha Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Prabhu Shri Krishna Sharanam. He says, "And whomsoever at the time of death leaving the body goes forth remembering me alone, he attains my being." And there is no doubt about this. So Jatayu remembers Sri Ram, "Prabhu, when you're in the form of Krishna, this is what you said. Here you are in bodily form before me, Lord. What more will this body serve? When the goal of this life is to attain who? Bhagwan. The goal of this life is to attain mukti, moksha, liberation. Here you are, Prabhu. This body serves no purpose again." He says very beautifully, "Yam yam vapi smara bhavam teja ante kalvaram tam tam ivaye kaunate sada tada bhavavita Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Bolo Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama." He says, whatever being a man thinks about at the last moment when he leaves the body, that and that alone shall he attain, ever been absorbed in his thoughts. Lord, Again, here you are in bodily form. I have been thinking about you, Prabhu. And here you are before me. What more will this body serve Bhagwan when I have served you wholeheartedly? And so, Jatayu reminds him very beautifully. Tasmai sarvu kallashu mama anu mayadhaya cha me arpata manu buddhir mamai vasyaye svana Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Bolo Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Prabhu Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Prabhu Shri Krishna Sharanam Bole Krishna Bhagwan ki. He says, therefore all time thinks about me, O Kuntiya. Going to the battlefield with your mind and understanding set on me, and you will certainly come to me. Bhagwan, I went before Ravan with my mind set on you. Today I am here and I am going to die with my mind set on you, Lord. Allow me to attain the goal of life, Mukti or Moksha. And so this brought tears to the eyes of Sri Ram, to see the love that Jatayu has for him. The love that Jatayu had for the Lord, he didn't mind sacrificing his life for the service of Sri Ram. How many of us, my dear friends, if we have to make a little sacrifice for God, we make 101 excuse. Shivratri coming up. Baba, I can't wake whole night, you know. When it's 10 o'clock, I decide to go to sleep. Juve coming up. Jai Shri Ram. Whole night, whole day, next day, every day. We make excuses when it comes to God. And that is a reality, you know. When it comes to God, we make all the excuses. Tell somebody, come in Ramayana. But you go hear how much arthritis, pain and everything else they have. Because we make all the excuses. Now we have the Ramayana broadcast in your home. You could lie down on your bed and watch Ramayana. And still we don't have time to do that. But when the COVID came, you know what we do? Jai Shri Ram, Bhagwan save me, eh? You first in line. Make time for God. Make time for God now, my dear friends. Learn from the past mistakes. And don't go back to your old habits. Change it. Make time for God. Live your life dedicated to God. Just like Jatayu. Jatayu went in the name of Sri Ram. He is no longer, but he attained the goal of life. When we make sacrifices in life, and when we do things in service to God, we are actually burning our karma. And when we burn the karma, what has happened? We attain mukti and moksha. But instead of we burn the karma, when we come in the world, we come in 5% karma. When we leave with 25% karma. Because we do more bad than good. My dear friends, use this life just like Jatayu to serve God. Shri Ram says, Bare bhagyu manusya tanu pavar, human birth is the greatest gift from God, and hence use it to serve God. But then the question arises, in today's world, how do we serve God? We wouldn't see a chariot flying in the sky with Rama and Sita, you know. So then how would we serve God? Many people think serving God is going up in the morning and offer 20 lota adhar and evening light all the diya have in the house. And sometimes we just do that, eh? But when we do it, and with the mind frame that we do it, sometimes we offer all the dhar, it have 2 bucket of dhar. And then the neighbor dog come across, what has happened? Bhagavad has started. Jai Bhagwan. My dear friends, whilst your rituals are great, whilst your puja is good, we may not be able to do puja every day. We may not be able to light a diya every day, offer jal every day because of the lifestyles that we may live. But then how could we serve God? It is said service to humanity is service to... Oh, you never hear that one up this side too? Service to humanity is service to God. Every day of your life you get a chance to serve mankind. But when we hear about serving mankind, what has come to my mind? Baba, take up some money and give it to poor people. Buy some grocery and give it to poor people. All that is good. But sometimes we don't have money for yourself. Then how you go give? You don't have grocery to cook for you to eat, then how you will give people? My dear friends, when you see someone, you tell them something good to inspire them, to motivate them, to encourage them in the righteous path, to encourage them to become successful. When you do that, you are serving God, because you are helping that person in the journey of life. If you see somebody now start to do woodwork, and they make a peer hand and they're crooked, don't insult the person. Tell them, babe, next time try it like this, it will look a little more straight. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Always tell people things to inspire them and motivate them. And when you do that, you are serving God, my dear friends. Krishna Bhagavan said, Patram pushpam palam toyam yomi bhakta prachate. He says, those who offer to me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a drop of water, with love and devotion attain mukti. But what is the leaf? We could think too, leaf and pan, leaf and thing. When we look at the leaves, look even the fake flowers. When you look at the leaf, it have vein. And when you look at your hand, what it have? This is the leaf we talk about. How you offer your hand to God? Service to humanity is service to God. Use these hands to do what? Good things. You know, a fella tell me one time, he said, Baba, God give me a hand. When people tell me anything out of way, he give me a hand. There's Lego hand, left, right, and center. God will give you a hand for that. God give us hands to serve Him. When you get the opportunity to serve God, He said, Patram pushpam. He says, offer flowers to me. Why do we offer flowers? Flowers symbolizes love. The 14th of February coming up, these fellas are you going to understand what is flowers. Flowers symbolizes love. So when you get the opportunity to do good thing with these hands, how you must do it? With love. When you get the opportunity to worship God, do it with love. When you get the opportunity to serve God, do it with love. When you get the opportunity to do these type of karmic work, Shra, Dasgat, etc. for our soul, my dear friends, do it with love. When you get the opportunity to go in puja and help somebody, do it with love. You know what we do nowadays? We say, I'm just going to help him make the roti because I have prayers coming up and I need help to make the parasad. So it's do for do. When you get the opportunity to do something good, do it with love. And when you do it with love and you see that person become successful, tears flow from the eye. What type of tears? Tears of joy, contentment, happiness. And when that tears flow, that is the water he speaks about. In today's world, tears just flow from the eyes when we see people becoming successful. But what kind of tears? Not tears of joy and happiness. Tears of jealousy and hatred. Because when we see somebody becoming successful, what we just do? We try to pull along the person. We just did like a barrel. Oh, you know that one good. Instead, when you see someone becoming successful, be happy because you are part of that person's success. He speaks about the fruits. And what are the fruits? The fruits of your actions. What you plant is what you are going to reap. If you plant tomatoes, you can't pick baigan. You have to pick tomatoes. And if you do good, what you will carry with you in the hereafter? Good. It's called karma pradhan ek samrata. The good things that you do, devotees, you will carry with you. Jatayu did good. Jatayu attained mukti and moksha. What can you carry with you when you depart from this world? Have you ever seen anybody carry the house and land? Papa gone, you see, carry the house. The house remain here, all we could sit and join in satsang. Then why fight and kill for two in Chalan? You see Papa carry the Beiran thing? That remain here. Then why fight for Mama Beira? When it will remain here for other people to fight for? We boast about his body, who fat, who thin, who black and who white, who pretty and who ugly. When you're dead, where the body does go? By the creek. Even that you can't carry. What you boasting about? What can we carry with us? The bhajan says, Hare koi nare jaile dhanabaan ki gatariya, koi nare jaile dhanabaan ki gatariya. जब यमराज पलंग पर बैठे जब यमराज पलंग पर बैठे उलट गए दोनों नैया हो उलट गए दोनों नैया He says, we are sent here with a gatariya pot. And what we fold in this gatariya is what you could carry. What is the pot? The soul. And what you could carry with you when you're going. The house, land, everything that remain here. You see the good things that you do? And you thought people didn't recognize, you thought you didn't get praise for it. Nobody recognized the good things that you did. Don't worry, you're carrying that. Not the good things that you do and you post on social media for name and fame. That one does remain right here. And you see the bad things that you do and you thought you get away? Jai Bhagwan. You're carrying that too with you. Karma pradhanik samrata. Only the good and the bad things that you have done is what you shall carry with you when you depart from this world. So the bhajan teaches us this evening, my dear devotees and bhaktas, just like Jatayu, the king of the birds is lying there. They are about to perform the dasgat. They are about to perform the shraddha and teshti karam samskar for him. To cremate the body and dispose of the body. The king of the bird is going with nothing. Nothing he's carrying. And likewise we too will go with nothing. Even the body becomes what? Nothing. It goes to ashes, my dear friends. Why have pride and ego and abhiman when nothing in this world belongs to you? Enjoy this world to the fullest, but do not become attached to it. Serve God. That is your purpose for coming on this earth. Serve God. Do good things. Do good things, my dear devotees and bhaktas. Do things to create good karma. Do things to create good karma. Because that is all you can take with you when you depart from this world. My dear devotees and bhaktas. Do not waste your life running after the material things of the world. The bhajan says, Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, Jyoti janam gavaya. The bhajan says, foolishly you have wasted your life running after the material thing of the world. Jyoti janamagavaya sadhu. How many of us foolishly will run after the material things? My dear friends, nobody has said don't enjoy a comfortable home, you know. Nobody has said don't have a big house. Nobody has said have 3 and 4 and 5 cars. Nobody has said don't have wear the best clothes. You wear the best, you live in the best house. You buy how much car you could afford. But do not become attached to it and make it your priority in life. Enjoy it and know that it is temporary. What is permanent? Bhagavan. Create that oneness with the Supreme Lord. Do not waste this life foolishly running after the material thing. Take the time to worship your parents. Because your parents are your God upon the earth, my dear friend. The bhajan says, एक पिता के हम सब लड़के धरती हमारे माता मैया धरती हमारे माता एक पिता के हम सब लड़के धरती हमारे माता मैया धरती हमारे माता कुटुंब कलव के संगन साथी कल दादर ना बाजा सारू कल ना बन का बाजा ज्योति जन्म गवाया सारू ज्योति जन्म गवाया सारू ज्योति जन्म गवाया सारू ज्योति जन्म Enjoy everything in this world, my dear friends. You are placed here in this world to enjoy everything. But do not become attached to it. Make time for God. Why? God is the only one to help you across the ocean of mundane existence. Lakshman is about to perform the rites for Jatayu. He prepares the body. When someone dies, when should we dispose of the body? Garuda Puran teaches us that the body is comprised of 5 elements. The first element to leave the body is the element of space. When the body is filled with liquid, you can no longer talk, create sound. So you notice sometimes mere moments or days before death, the person will stop talking. The second element to leave the body, according to Garuda Puran, is prana, the air, breath. And when someone could no longer breathe, margaya, the person is no longer. So the second element has left. The third element to leave the body is the fire element. If you feel your hand, you'll feel heat. And that represents the fire element in the body. And when someone dies, this element will leave naturally and the body becomes cold. So Garuda Puran tells us when somebody dies, you must leave the body there until the heat element leaves naturally before moving that body. So when somebody dies and the funeral agency taking long to come, don't vex. Remember, everything that's happened for a reason. According to the Garuda Puran, the body is supposed to remain there till the heat leaves naturally. So 3 elements are no longer, leaving 2 elements. The water element, the liquid in the body, and the earth element which creates the body. And Garuda Puran says these 2 elements should be disposed as soon as possible. As soon as possible, we should dispose of this body. Garuda Puran teaches us, according to Sanatana Dharma, there are 5 ways to dispose of the body. But in our country, there's only 2 legal ones. You could bury and cremate. And the greatest amongst all is cremation. Why? Because immediately these 2 elements are no longer. They make preparation to cremate the body of Jatayu. As they are preparing the body, they create the rat, tying the bamboo together. He take gobar and leap the spot where the body will be placed. According to Garuda Puran, how big we should leap the spot where the body is placed? Baba, well, we don't want to dirty the ground. So we can spread a piece of white cloth and touch the gobar. That is a new thing now. But that is my father and that is my mother. I know Baba, I could do anything for them, but don't dirty the ground. Put the piece of white cloth. Jai Bhagwan. Well, Baba, if you leap in the ground, just put it the size of the box. According to Garuda Puran, it's supposed to be a big circle. Why the gobar is besmeared there? To purify that spot where the body will be placed. And why should it be a big circle? The karma karta, which the 5 fellas who are performing the rituals should be able to walk around the body on the holy spot. This is according to the Garuda Puran. And they besmeared that spot. Placing the body, they are about to perform the rituals. And whilst they are performing the rituals, my dear friends, he offers the first pinda, the bikar pinda. And whilst he makes the offering of the bikar pinda for all who have gone to the great beyond, 5 pindas are offered. 5 manzal will be made. You would have noticed this for the funeral. Why 5 manzal? 5 stops. Why 5 pindas? Offering gratitude to God and thanking God for allowing this soul, this human body which comprised of the 5 elements, and we are thanking God for allowing the Atma, a human body upon the earth, a body to serve God. Placing the body there, they perform parikrama and offer water purification. They are about to place the chandan. When someone dies, how do we place the chandan? The chandan is placed downwards. When we are alive, the chandan is placed upwards. There is a jiva, life force within the body, the 3rd eye is there. But when someone is no longer, there is no longer jiva, life force, and the 3rd eye is no longer. So closing that 3rd eye, simply we place a dot or simply downwards the chandan is placed. And as he places the chandan, he offers the perfume. And when you offer the perfume, why do we offer the perfume in puja or any funeral? So the man will smell good and Jai Bhagwan. The perfume is actually to send a reminder to all of us. When you get a perfume in puja, it smell high for how long? For a short space of time. And what does it remind us? That we are here for a short space of time. And what we must do in that short space of time, anybody know? Serve God. Do the righteous things, do the dharmic things. So offering the Sugandim, they now place the mala, and the mala is burst. Why? Signifying the attachment from this material world. And whilst they place the mala, he holds the arti in his hand. And the arti is lit. Have you ever noticed when you perform funeral, the arti is lit to what? Camphor. Why? Camphor, when it is lit, it burns to what? Nothing. Well, supposed to, The good brand is burnt to nothing. The bad one is leave a black thing. But the camphor is supposed to burn to nothing. And because we are praying, Bhagwan, as this camphor is burning and I perform this arti, may it burn the karma, whatever karma the soul may have attained whilst on this earth, Bhagwan. And so holding the arti, they chant very beautifully as we all chant this evening. Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare, Dukhiyo ko dukha dur kare, Jai 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 Krishna Hare. What he says? Very beautifully. He says, Bhagwan, as I wave this arti, Prabhu, I pray to you, I worship your lotus-like feet. Bhagwan, may you bless this soul. O Krishna, you are the one who removes all suffering, all burden on this world. O Krishna, I surrender to you. You are the one who crosses us through the mundane existence and on to the realm of Hari. Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare, Dukhiyo ko dukha dur kare, Jai 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 Krishna Hare. As he waves the arti, he will walk around the box 5 times, the body. And I'm sure you would have walked around 5 times. And whilst you walk around 5 times, you pray, Prabhu, may you bestow darshan upon this soul. And whilst they are making these offerings, everyone is looking at what is taking place. And you know what they are reminded of? Jatayu is the king of the birds. He leaves the earth. He is going to be cremated. And he doesn't carry anything with him. And likewise, it reminds us that one day to come, we all will leave this world of Mahamaya. And we will leave empty-handed. What will we carry with us? Nothing but only a karma. Then why the pride and abhiman? Why the ego? The bhajan says, Jab char taraf andiyara ho, Asha ka dur kinara ho. जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का दूर किनारा हो, और कोई न केवनहारा हो, फिर तू ही बेड़ा पार करो. जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुखा दूर करे. जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय 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 कृष्ण. राम नाम सत्य है, Ram Nam Satya hai, the holy body of Jatayu. Ram Nam Satya hai, and they are making the 5 manzil, offering the pindas and performing the puja. They finally reaches the chitta, the paya. Placing the body of Jatayu into the chitta, they perform Havan. Havan is performed to whom? Karavagin Devta. But before performing the Havan, what you just do with the body? You place sugar, rice, black till, gugul, pitch pine, tulsi. All of these things are placed, and these are what? Havan ingredients, isn't that so? The life that we live is an offering to God. Everything that we do should be an offering to God. And when we make offering to God, what we just call that a puja. And When you perform puja, is offerings you are making to God. And so this life is like a puja. Everything that we do should be an offering to God. And when you conclude your puja, what is the final offering? Baba tell you, bit, catch a little bit of the samakri, put it in a pani for the supari, and wrap it very beautifully. It's called the Purna Mahuti, the final offering. In life, the Purna Mahuti or the final offering is this body. This is why all of these things are placed there. The gold is placed at the entry points. The campfire is placed on the mouth and now placed into the chitta. Havan is performed to Karavagin Devta. And while the Havan is performed, the Karmakarta now performs Padikrama, walking around the chitta 5 times, and as he is about to consecrate that fire, where do he light? By the foot? Where does light the fire? Anybody know? By the mouth. Why by the mouth? Every part of this human body, there are Devis and Devtas residing according to Sanatan Dharma. This is why we must have respect for your body. Again, Devta reside where? In your mouth. This is why the fire is consecrated at the mouth. Fire does do what? Burn people and leave what? Scorch. Is leave burn mark and thing. And when you tell people, sometimes you tell people things with this mouth, what has happened? Jai Bhagwan. Jai Bhagwan. Because again, Devta resides in your mouth. So the fire is consecrated there, and as the body is being consumed in the fire, all of the rituals are being performed for Jatayu. And once the rituals are performed, everybody recognizes and realizes he's the king of the birds. He leaves empty-handed with nothing. He only goes with the karma. Death does not distinguish between the king nor the beggar. He calls for everyone. And the only one to ferry us through this journey of life is who? God. Bhau sagar mein jeevan naya Rama lagawat pad. The only one to ferry us through this journey of life is Bhagwan. By whatever name you may call God, whatever form you may visualize God to be, begin to live a God-like life, a dharmic life, a righteous life, so that when that time for death comes, you will attain God. Because death does not distinguish between the king nor the beggar. Many times we think in today's world that if we have money, we will live longer than the poor people. How you know that? But one sickness take you and all the money go by the doctor. Jai Bhagwan. Death does not distinguish between the king nor the beggar. And as you conclude the katha, I will share with you something. It is said that once there lived the king and his servant. The king is sitting on the throne in the kingdom and his servant at the gateway. So Yamraj came. Who is Yamraj? Oh, you know who is Yamraj? Oh, you better learn who is Yamraj. Eh? The Lord of Death. So as Yamraj reached by the gateway, he told the servant, I'm here to meet with the Raja, the king. So he said, listen, you have to wait by the gate. I will go in the kingdom and bring him by the gate. So Yama said, listen, time is against me. I'm going to make a rounds and I'll come back. Bring the king by the gate. So the servant went into the kingdom and he saw the Raja. And you know sometimes the leaders and the one who have power, they think they could outsmart everybody. The servant said, Raja, Yamraj coming to meet you. He said, come by the gate. So the king thought he was smart, nah? So he said, listen, would you like to be king for a day? So the servant said, of course. So the king took out his garments and he gave it to the servant, and the king wore the servant garments. And the servant disguised that the king is sitting on the throne, and the king disguised that the servant goes at the gateway. And Yamraj came. So Yamraj said, I thought I'd tell you, bring the king come. He said, listen, the gate open, the door open. Go straight in the kingdom, he's sitting on the throne, you could take him right there. Yama said, listen, time is against me. Forget the king, and I'll carry you instead. Ekbal Bure Krishna Bhagavan ki. Death does not distinguish between the king nor the beggar. My dear devotees and bhaktas, this evening Katha has taught us many wonderful lessons for life. It has taught us to live a life in service of God, just like Jatayu. He made a lot of sacrifices, he sacrificed himself. But what happened? When you do sacrifices and when you do things in the name of God and you make self-sacrifice, I don't mean to kill yourself, but you make self-sacrifice for your time, etc. for God, it leads you to what? Mukti, God realization. When you live a life in service of God, it leads you to Mukti. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for until after the Bhandara. Begin now to live a life dedicated to Bhagwan. To say godlike things. If you can't tell somebody something good, don't say nothing at all. Tell people things to inspire them, to motivate them. Do things to encourage people on the path of Dharma and live a dharmic life. And live in a dharmic life, you will attain the goal of life, which is mukti or moksha. Iqbal Bore Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. This evening, let us chant as we join together with this wonderful family in honoring that soul, in praying for that beautiful soul. We chant the Mahamantra. It is said that one who chants the Mahamantra, it leads us to mukti or moksha. And this evening, we all gather here. And I saw as the Satsang was going on, people here, Guru was singing, and they started to come in, you see. Jai Bhagwan. So tonight, whilst we come to Satsang, we are here to praise God. Let us grasp the opportunity. Remember what I said just now? Don't wait for tomorrow, eh? Today. We are sure to see tomorrow. We know about now, right? So God has given us a body and He gives us hand to do what? To serve Him and to clap in Satsang. And Bhagwan gave you mouth to do what? Jai Bhagwan, somebody do answer. Eh? God gave us mouth to sing His praises and say good things, right Ishan? Say good things. So let us use His voice to sing the praises of God. So tonight we are going to chant the Mahamantra. Everybody knows the Mahamantra. And tonight I give you a permission to do something. If the person next to you not singing or not clapping, very simply give them a hunch. Everybody knows a hunch, right? Jai Bhagwan. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. They said, when we chant the Mahamantra, it leads us to mukti and to moksha. This evening together, Hare Krishna, Hare. Jai Bhagwan. You know how it is? Raise all your volume in monitoring. Raise all your volume in all your mic tonight, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, 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 Hari हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, रामा रामा हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, राम राम हरे। एक बार बोले कृष्ण भगवान की, श्यामपति रामचंद्र की। This evening, before we conclude Satsang, I invite Uncle Zim to lead us in a beautiful bhajan at this time. Also, we have Bhai Kishanji joining with us this evening. Let me take the opportunity once more again to welcome those joining with us via Media Concepts 29. And of course, my Facebook page this evening, Bhagwan's Blessings.
मैया की ममता सची, तज बाबा का प्यार, द्वाल बाल के मित्रता, गोपियन के मनुहार, तज के सब परिवार को तज मुरली की तान, अपनों से मुख मोर के मथुरा चले रे शाबाश। सुना सुना लागे बीरज का नाम, गोकुल को छोड़ चले रे घनश्याम। सुना सुना लागे बीरज का नाम, गोकुल को छोड़ चले रे घनश्याम। जमुना रोए मधुबन रोए, रोए कदम की जैया, ओ रोए कदम की जैया। घर भर नैना रोई रे गवाले, घर भर नैना रोई रे गवाले, रोए बीरज की गैया। राह रोके कर रोए मनुष्य का, ओ राह रोके कर रोए मनुष्य का, बिचर रहे मोरे श्याम रे। सुना लागे बीरज का नाम, गोकुल को छोड़ चले रे घनश्याम। बोल सके ना करके पंछी, असवन से बरने नैना। आजा गाना नाचा गाना, नाचा गाना नाचा गाना, आजा गाना नाचा गाना, भूखे रे पिंजरे की नैना। नदिया रोए गिर भर रोए, ले गाना गाना मरे। राधा रानी भर नैनन में पानी हो प्रेम दीवानी राधा रानी भर नैनन में पानी सुबह सुबह कहे हाय रे काका हाय रे काका हाय रे काका सुबह कहे हाय रे काका तूने बिरहा के पीर न जाने कैसे कहते तुम बिना साथी जीवन के अब शाम सुना लागे बीरज का नाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले चोर चले घनश्याम चोर चले घनश्याम चोर चले घनश्याम घनश्याम सुना लागे बीरज का गोकुल को छोड़ चले रे घनश्याम रे गोकुल को छोड़ चले रे घनश्याम
जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन के कृष्णा जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन के कृष्णा सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन के कृष्णा जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन के कृष्णा सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा 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 सिया राम जय जय राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम। जिसको मिले ना प्यारा सुखे का मरण क्या जाने, जो ना जाए कृष्णा कृष्णा नित्य का धर्म क्या मारे। चाहे अगर उजियारा बोले कृष्णा कृष्णा, चाहे अगर उजियारा बोले कृष्णा कृष्णा। सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा। जो तू मिटाना चाहे, जो तू मिटाना चाहे जीवन के कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा, सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्णा।
All right. This song was requested. Oh ho ho, oh ho ho, ah ha ha, in hawa में, in फिजाओं में, in hawa में, इन फिजाओं में तुझको मेरा प्यार पुकारे। आजा आजा रे तुझको मेरा प्यार पुकारे। ओ हो ला 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 ला। तुझसे रंगत तुझसे मस्ती, इन झरनों में इन फूलों में, तेरे दम से मेरी हंसी झूले जाते इन झूलों में। मचल जाए शोक उमंगी, मचल जाए शोक उमंगी, तो बहू का हाथ पुकारे। आजा आजा रे तुझको मेरा प्यार पुकारे। ओ हो ला 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 ला। लग पर तेरे लब के सारे, सास का तेरी सास का तेरी। लग पर तेरे लब के सारे, सास का तेरी सास का तेरी। जुल्फ का हर ये झपलाए, जुल्फ का हर ये झपलाए। आंचल का हर डाल पुकारे। जल्दी हंस फसाना हो जाएंगे। इन्हें मुनही का इतने जल्दी हंस फसाना हो जाएंगे। कल होगा हार मिला का, कल होगा हार मिला का। आज सुनीता बात रे, आजा आजा रे तुझको मेरा प्यार पुकारे हो। ओहो गम के बदली छाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। गम के बदली छाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। ओ मोरे रामा रे तेरी दुहाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। गम के बदली बिछराए कमा से दुलारा, बिछराए कमा से दुलारा। तू बाइन आंखों का तारा, टूटा इस मन का सहारा, मन का सहारा। हमरे आंगन में बेस जुदाई बदल कर आई मिलन की राह। गम के बदले छाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। ओ मोरे रामा रे तेरी दुहाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। तूने सारे सुख लूटे, दुख ने सारे सुख लूटे। सजन के ले सारे झूले, सपनों के मंदिर टूटे, मंदिर टूटे। रोते राधा से कृष्ण कन्हई के बाह चुराई मिलन की राह। गम के बदले छाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। ओ मोरे रामा रे तेरी दुहाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। गम के बदले छाई जुदाई लेके आई मिलन की राह। All you know this version, eh? That is next one, but this is the original.
Bure Sramapati Mahadev ki jai. Let us all clasp hands above heads. Let us close the physical eyes as we join in Pratna and pray. We pray once more, Hey Prabhu, Hey Sarva Sachitanand, Nirakar Sarveshwara Koti ko barambar namaskar karta ho Prabhu. May you open the doors of Hari Vaikuntha and may you accept this beautiful soul. As we pray this evening, Bhagwan, if the soul has done anything wrong, knowingly or unknowingly, maaf karo. May you please forgive that soul for its own any form of a human being, we pray. Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktahinam Jaladanam Yat Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tarasrame Kahena Vacha Manasendreva Udyatmanava Prakatyam Subhautam Karome Yakya Sakalam Parashme नारायणायते समर्पयामि together. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव वेद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवा ज्योतिबिन्दु परमात्मा से ऐ मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन हरि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। एक बार बोले कृष्ण भगवान की सत्य सनातन धर्म की बोले सियापति रामचंद्र की जय जय सीताराम।